Okay, I'm gonna level with you guys. The people of Star Wars cannot read. Period. End of story. And I want you to finish the video before you go down and type on your comments, actually, if you look at this obscure comic from 1985, you can clearly see Luke Skywalker reading the back of a TGI Fridays menu. We're gonna get to those in a minute. But first, we gotta get through this intro. Now, you're also probably wondering, why did I make this video? And to be honest, I think it's hilarious. I think it's great that a farm boy can blow up a space station and battle wizards, all because he rolled a nat 20 on his religious check. But if you ask him to read a Harry Potter book, he's not getting past the first page. And this applies to several different characters that we're going to dive into in a minute. Now, let's start off with Section 1, Evidence. So we're going to be looking at clips and pictures from all 11 movies, Clone Wars, Rebels, and even... Hey! What are you doing over there, Resistance? Get out of here. These are good people. They don't need your type of smut around here. Scram! No one even watches you anyway. I could have lied about you. I could say whatever I want. Who's going to correct me? Like 3 people watched it and I'm one of them. What are they going to do? Exactly. You're garbage. Anyway, where was I? Oh yeah. So, the first thing we're going to look at is how none of the ship's buttons are labeled. And at first, I thought I was crazy. And then I started looking at pictures inside Luke's X-Wing. And you're going to see right here, none of them are labeled. None. He doesn't know what those buttons do. No one knows what those buttons do. And even looking at the targeting computer, you're like, oh, well, there's symbols on the targeting computer, so they must mean something, right? I thought the same thing. I thought, like, oh, crap, I'm not going to make this video. And then I started clicking on it, and, like, this is the article from Wikipedia. This is it. I didn't cut anything out. All I took out was the links. And they don't even know. They have no clue. And you're probably like, oh, well, that's fine. You know, I mean, the original trilogy, there wasn't a lot of budget in A New Hope. I mean, hell, Darth Vader's helmet has fingerprint smudges, and they left it in the film. The iconic lightsaber fight is just 2 old men beating each other with a cane for 10 minutes. And, you know, you're right. But look at this picture from Episode 9. She's not even, all she's using is the Sith tracking finder. This is still Luke's X-Wing, people. And you can see, in the background, nothing labeled. This, the Sith Wayfinder, nothing. It's a blip with a line in a pyramid. That's all there is, people. And it's not the only ship that's like that. Take a look at the Millennium Falcon. The most iconic ship in Star Wars still succumbs to these problems. I mean, just take a look at the cockpits right here. It doesn't matter if it's the original trilogy or the solo movie. It's just a bunch of unmarked buttons, levers, and dials, and he's just flipping them like crazy, hoping that it'll all work out in the end. So, fun fact, while I was trying to find background footage for this video, I had stumbled across a bunch of other ships that fall into the same problem. So, just to kind of let you guys see what's going on, we're going to do a quick lightning round. And ready, go. If you're looking for an in-universe explanation, I have one word for you. Droids. In Star Wars, these little buggers do everything. Need a pilot? Get a droid. Need a soldier for your war? Get a droid. Need a cute little mouse to scamper around your moon-sized space station? Get a droid. There's never been a need to educate people, because as long as you have the credits, you can get a droid who can read. Think about protocol droids. They know every single language in Star Wars and can read every single language. It is easier to build a droid who can do that than to learn the language themselves. And they can't be complicated machines to build, because Anakin, we see in Episode 1, is building C-3PO, a protocol droid. And it's shown countless times he's a very smart droid. He can read several different languages. He's even programmed to recognize the ancient Sith language and not translate it. So, I mean, if a child in a desert wasteland where they don't even take government currency can build one of these things, it can't be complicated. Now, I like to imagine that at some point, people in Star Wars knew how to read, but with the invention of protocol droids and no real education system, especially in the Outer Rim worlds, reading became less and less of an important skill set and was replaced with more practical things like becoming a wizard or owning a diner. Hashtag support small businesses. Section 2, the Mandarin Duran. Now, The Mandalorian gets its own special section because it tries its very hardest to show us people reading. And we're going to be looking at two scenes in particular. The first one being in Chapter 12, where Mando goes back to meet Cara Dune and Apollo Creed, and he stumbles upon a school. Now, normally I would say this is a clear-cut example of people being taught to read because, duh, it's a school. It's where people learn to read. However, take a listen to Mando as he sees a school for the very first time.
Is correct.
A school?
Things have changed a lot around here.
He is surprised by the school, signaling to us, the audience, that there was none there to begin with. This best tells us that while the students potentially will learn to read, it is safe to assume that they do not know how to read at this point in the show. Now let's take a look at Chapter 14. This is one of the only moments in Star Wars where we see writing followed by a person actually reading it.
My chain code has been encoded in this armor for 25 years.
And over here is the chain code translated. And as we can see what's written on it, it's not very complicated stuff. It's only his name, his father's name, and then their master's name, really. So my theory here is that Boba Fett is functionally illiterate, which is defined as having literacy skills at the 3rd grade level or no more than the most simple and concrete literacy skills. This man, until 2020, was not shown to be a very competent individual. So it's not that far of a stretch for me to go out and say that he has a subpar reading ability. I mean, this was a man who spent much of his childhood either in a Republic prison or trying to kill Mace Windu, sometimes at the same time. So I don't really see a point in his life where he was sitting down on Slave One with Bosk while they were cozied up together reading Of Mice and Men. Section 3, tier list time, baby. So we're going to start off our tier list with 3 people we've already talked about, that being Mando, Han Solo, and Luke Skywalker. And to me, out of these 3, Luke is the most pompous of them. And what I mean by that is just like, he tries to hide the fact that he can't read, but it's so painfully obvious. And I think this is very well done in Episode 8, after Yoda burns down the tree with the Jedi text inside. And then Luke just throws this whole fit about how, like, oh, that book is ruined. You know, no one's going to be able to read them anymore. This is a horrible thing you've done, Yoda. And then Yoda just turns around at him and goes, did you actually read the books? Like, did you physically open them and read the books? Or have you just been letting them sit there this whole time? And then Luke kind of gives that look on his face. Not like a look I can describe in one word, but that look of like, your friend's been called on by the teacher to talk about the chapter you were supposed to read last night, but he didn't read the chapter, so he has to kind of keep giving these vague answers, hoping the teacher doesn't press him. But we all know he didn't read the chapter, but for some reason we have to keep going with this instead of calling on somebody else to read. It's basically that. That's the look he's giving to them at this moment. Adding to the list, we have the previously mentioned Boba Fett, the literal baby, the 2 blind men, the 2 orphans, the 6 million credit man, the actual idiot, and the pirate who's in desperate need of a dictionary.
Insolence! We are pirates! We don't even know what that means!
I'm gonna slap down a 4th category real quick. This 4th category is people who can most likely read, but we don't have any proof of them reading, and this is really just 2 people. This is really just Yoda and Grand Admiral Thrawn, and the reason I picked these 2 is because, for starters, they are a very intelligent duo. They know a lot about culture, they know a lot about the Force, etc., etc. So it's not surprising to me that they would have an ability to read, but we have no proof of them reading, if you know what I'm saying. So I can't confirm it, but I'm not suspicious of them. Now, I know what you're thinking. Come on, there's gotta be at least one person in Star Wars that can read, and you'd be correct. Now, this man, he's been around Star Wars forever. He was a legend in the Republic Army. I bet you can already guess by his pixelated face. And his name is...
You just got coconut mauled. Share this with all your friends to totally coconut maul them.
Okay, jokes aside, there is one man who reads at a proficient level in Star Wars, and he might be the only one in the universe, confirmed at least. And his name is Mieber Gascon. He appears in one arc in Star Wars The Clone Wars, and he is shown working alongside D-Squad on a secret mission. In this clip right here, you see him working alongside of Commando Gregor as he's reading him his biography as a clone trooper. And you can see it's a rather complicated one if you've ever seen the arc. He reads him his backstory, what happened to him on his last battle, how he got amnesia. And the reason I count this one as he can read versus Boba Fett's where I'm like, he's just illiterate, is because Boba Fett's is not very complicated. There's not a lot of reading involved. It's really just his name and his father's name. While in this one, Gascon is shown to be reading complex sentences. This is not something you could just show someone and they could guess what is happening. And as we see in the episode, what he's reading to him is very accurate. So it's very believable that he can read at a proficient level. And here's where everyone else aligns from the completely objective, 100% correct, will never change ever in the history of Star Wars reading list. You're welcome.